Hey everybody, this is Alessia from the Radical Health Show. Today is March 30th, 2011. And today we're continuing our series about radiation and how you can naturally prevent the damage it causes. First of all, I have a black eye, okay, in passing. I had a little accident. I didn't get a concussion, but when you're stuck at home with a head injury, you have a lot of free time to do research. So I've been really looking into this and I'm ready to share information because, like we talked about last time, we want to have foods that are high in iodine, primarily seaweeds, but also you can have radishes, asparagus, carrots, tomatoes, spinach, rhubarb, potatoes, peas, strawberries, mushrooms, lettuce, bananas, cabbage, eggs, and onions. Also, you can have dried beans and lentils and other legumes. They can actually reverse DNA damage. So the best thing that I've been doing is sprouting these, and in the case of legumes, I like to lightly steam them afterwards because they can be really hard to digest. That's another thing that we want to work on is our digestion, because if you're going to be eating all of these really great herbs and foods, you want to make sure you're absorbing as much as you can. In animal studies, vitamin E and selenium reduced radiation-induced transformation in cell culture. But the combination was more effective than just the two elements alone, so really combining them is important. So vitamin E, selenium. You also want to get a combination of vitamins A, C, and E together. Those are fantastic. A variety of antioxidants in your diet can also be helpful. So if you have vitamin C, glutathione, you have NAC, lipoic acid, and coenzyme Q10, for example, those actually protected human cells in rats against radiation. I wanted to talk to you about glutathione. It's actually the mother of all antioxidants. It's really responsible for optimizing the immune system and helping you shed toxins. You can take it as a supplement, but it won't be absorbed properly. So the only way that you can really encourage your body to make it itself is by consuming the precursors to it. So the precursors are 3 amino acids, cysteine, glycine, and N-acetylcysteine. You can get this by consuming bioavailable undenatured whey protein, but if you want a more vegan alternative, which I recommend, you can have a raw vegan Sun Warrior protein powder. And that has the amino acid cysteine in it, so it'll help you produce glutathione. So basically, in Diet for the Atomic Age, it's discussed how you want to have a body pH of a slightly alkaline to middle range body pH, and that will enhance resistance to radiation. That means eating a diet that's high in vegetables and consuming a lower amount of animal products than maybe we're used to. I think that it's really important to have animal products somewhere in your diet for most people because of B12 needs and other reasons, but if you consume too many animal products, it's very acidifying for the body. I think now more than ever it's really crucial to eat whole foods because we want to undo any deficiencies, vitamin or mineral deficiencies that you may have. It's not just iodine that we need to be concerned with. We also have to make sure that we're getting enough potassium, enough iron, because radioactive isotopes of those minerals can also be absorbed. So it's really kind of a whole holistic approach that I'm encouraging. A lot of people ran out and got potassium iodide supplements or made them themselves after seeing in the news that was something that is distributed after there's a nuclear disaster. But that's only necessary, if at all, within 10 to 20 miles away from the actual nuclear reactor. Over here, it's not for sure yet that the levels we're going to be exposed to will require such an intense course of action, because it can be dangerous to consume potassium iodide if you have certain cardiovascular or thyroid conditions. So a more reasonable approach is to incorporate iodine in your diet naturally with food, or possibly to use a tincture of iodine. Externally only. This is not to be ingested. This is toxic poison if you drink it. I would never ever recommend drinking this. But if you put it onto your skin, they've actually done tests where mice have been more resistant to radiation poisoning after being treated with this topically. And they suggest putting about a dime to a quarter size spot on your stomach, on your abdomen, and letting it be absorbed slowly. And that's a less aggressive kind of approach to restoring your iodine levels without something super saturated. So now I want to talk to you about herbs that are powerful anti-radiation remedies. Now there are tons of them, and different herbs work for different people, so you have to really try and see which ones work for you. So I'm going to run through this list, and if all works well, I should have them scrolling down somewhere in this vicinity. Okay, so ginkgo biloba, sea buckthorn, Don Quai, holy basil, American or Canadian ginseng, foxtail, Indian gooseberry or amla, long pepper, ginger, and basil. Basil contains two water-soluble flavonoids called ornithine and vicenin, and has also been proven to protect the white blood cells, chromosomes, and bone marrow from radiation poisoning. Mint extract has protected mice against gastrointestinal death and bone marrow deaths caused by radiation sickness. So there are other places that radiation will attack, like the bone marrow, but if you kind of incorporate these kinds of herbs, you have a way of protecting yourself, so we're not helpless. Susan Weed encourages us to cook with these kinds of herbs and use mineral-rich vinegars, or take a high-quality tincture, or you can brew nourishing herbal infusions. An infusion is when you take about an ounce of any given herb and you cover it in boiling water in a quart jar, and then you just let it sit for 4 hours to overnight preferably, and then that will absorb all of the medicinal qualities of whatever herb that you're infusing. So she recommends nettles, red clover, and violet leaves because they have a generous amount of protein and minerals like potassium and zinc, those great minerals that we've been talking about. I'm all out of time for this episode, but we're going to keep filming, so be sure to check part 3, which I'm going to post immediately after this. And I wanted to say a big thank you to Monteagle Herbs because they sent Bruno and I a great order. We ordered all of our herbs from them that I talked about in this episode, and we'll be making teas and tinctures and lots of different recipes with them in the future, so we'll show you that. And be sure to tune into part 3 and maybe part 4. I don't know how long this is going to be, but it's worth it. This is great. We're up to 900 views on the first episode, which shows people are really interested in how they can protect themselves, and people are getting informed. So till next time, this is Alessia from the Radical Health Show, wishing you peace, love, and radical health.